Welcome back to Universe X, and today we are back with special guest. He was just on the channel a couple days ago, Armando de Alessandro.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me back, Chris. I hope you're not sick of hearing us talk about Dark Broly yet, because if you like hearing us talk about Dark Broly, you're in for a treat.
I feel like that's definitely the case. I already apologized if I butchered your last name. It was just going to be inevitable for what just happened there, but
it was eloquent. It was eloquent. Don't worry about it.
So I hope you guys aren't tired of Dark Broly, because that is predominantly what we like talking about right now. And until the deck dies in a horrible fiery crash, or just kind of slinks off into the power crept dustbin that Bandai likes to stack up over the course of some sets, we're gonna probably talk about the deck as long as we can. So at the start of this video, just like to do the normal. We are on the road to 1,000 subs, so any amount of support would be much appreciated. Definitely like making content, and I love hearing when people actually like the content. It makes me feel good about these things. And next, just got to put out the entire smorgasbord. I mean, we've got a bunch of people that are going to be on and off the channel very soon, whether it's Trifinity Customs, got a video coming up for the custom mat he got me. We've got Spiral Maui Graphics. They make these cool metal leaders. In fact, I've actually got one like right here. Dark Broly, a little hard to see in the light. I'm going to have a much better one once I actually get the ones I have for a future giveaway in. And we've actually got a custom Xeno Harambe one coming in. It's actually flames, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. So there's that. The Facebook group is always hot fire. We got a lot of people talking in there, whether it's memes, whether it's deck lists, news, disses, rants about buyouts. It's gonna be on there, and you should probably join up because it's the largest font of information about our TCG. Past that, we got some more plugs that actually aren't mine. So I'm gonna turn this over to Armando so we can talk about his channel, his blogs, and put that out there.
Thanks, Chris. If you don't already follow, it's Border City Ballerz. It's a WordPress blog. It's completely free. I don't make any money off of it. I just try and update it with articles. I've been busy. It's a little slow, but check it out. There's a lot of good content on there. As well, I have a YouTube channel, Border City Ballerz on YouTube. It's there's some deck profiles, some gameplay videos. I do a couple breakdowns too. I just started doing box openings with my prizing from TAC Games. I uploaded that video today. December finalists. I got a really sick mat actually, which is this Rise of the Unison Warrior. So for sure, if you don't mind checking it out, I'd appreciate it. Other than that, I was recently on Giancarlo's YouTube, Bad Beats Gaming. Check that out. We do a good discussion of my PPG tournament deck as well. Hermit Style Podcast, check it out. It's really fun. I listen to it on the way to work.
Yep, we got a lot of people that are kind of jumping in. I think it's better when the community of content creators, just as a whole, gets together, cross-pollinates, helps each other out. It's just awesome. I mean, like, you should definitely check out Bad Beats, because Bad Beats puts up a lot of Dark Broly content. He has fallen in love with the deck too. And dare I say, there are some ways that people are playing the deck right now, like certain cards at certain ratios, that would not be that way had Giancarlo not played it that way and piloted it to a finish. So definitely check out that. That's going to be another link in the description. This description is going to have mad links. Like, it's going to look like a book, but you're going to love it, because you should. I think you should. So
UniX DBS Discord too. I don't need to say it.
Right.
Check it out. I'm on there. It's a blast.
He is actually right. That's more plugs. The plugs. This is to go even further beyond at plug. Wait. Pause. Actually, that whole sentence sounded awful. We're moving forward, okay? Forward, bigger, better things that... Yeah, okay, cool. So we're going to talk about how the deck changes going into set 12. And a lot of this conversation will be some back and forth between Armando and I, because there are some things we're probably going to agree on, some things we'll probably have like differentiating opinions on. But I'm excited to dive into this, because I still feel like this deck has a lot to tap, even though it maybe only gained one card that's directly correlated with the archetype, and then maybe a couple cards that are loosely correlated. But I think there's still a lot to tap. So I'm going to give the floor to Armando. When it comes to set 12, how do you envision your Dark Broly deck changing?
So a lot of it's largely the same, I will be honest. I swapped out about 4 cards. I think the core of the deck is so strong, and it'll continue to be strong. It's still going to be in that like tier 2, tier 1 range. So you don't really need to mess around with the core too much. One of the things the deck was lacking is deflect. So that gets remedied with the new expansion. I can't remember the name. The Ultimate deck, Toa Ultimate deck. That's what it is. Where you get the red and black Dark Broly card. I'm running it as a 2-of. I think it's a strong option. It's a 2 energy tap, and it's on a card you already have on board. So you need some setup for it, but for a 2 energy deflect play, it's a -2 from your opponent, so you get the same value as Demigra. And I'm actually swapping one Demigra out for one of these, then the other card, I'll make room for a second. But I think it does the exact same job as Demigra. You're still -2ing your opponent. Yeah, it requires a little bit of setup, but it doesn't make you overwhelm. So I think that's a solid card to add to the deck going in. Also, in my PPG deck, I didn't run main deck Super Kamehameha. I've since become a believer in that you should run 2 in your main. Super Kamehameha, it answers a lot of cards, a lot of floodgates that give Dark Broly trouble. It might be dead in your hand for a couple turns, but I definitely think it's something to add to the deck.
Just to add on to that, some people look at Super Kamehameha and think, okay, this is a Dark Broly card, but if I'm not mistaken, isn't this a card that hits Prospect as well?
Yep, so it hits Super Kamehameha, it hits the 1-drop Dark Broly, it hits, it's anything 3 or less, goes to Warp instead of being played. So it cancels all Floodgates, Topo, Prospects, Son Gohan, Baby's Minion. It's really good for a deck that has a tough time getting around Floodgates. The other thing is, against the worst matchup, Invoker, it cancels Rival Seeker, which is huge for the deck.
So, if you guys have already viewed my set 12 Broly deck, let it be known that at the time that I made that deck, while I remembered that Super Kamehameha definitely got rid of certain things in certain decks, totally didn't cross my mind until this very exact moment that it stops Prospects. Granted, my deck isn't really geared towards blue in that particular list. Blue's more on my side, but Super Kamehameha is definitely going to be in my side at minimum because I hate Trunks Prospect. And the ability to be awakened and then say no to it and keep plowing, chef's kiss. So, personally, when it comes to my end, I'm a fan of, right now, Heartfelt Plea. And that's a card that you can only put in the deck because of the new Red Broly. So for me, just because of Deflect and the ability to, I guess, have another option for Dark Broly, I actually sit as a 4-of, mainly because I end up not leaning on it, but I do incorporate it a little bit more in my strategy. I'm sorry, my cats are definitely fighting on the ground. But for me, there's a couple of things I like because I don't necessarily feel like they clash Demigra and just the 7-drop, but I feel like they definitely hit value on different things. Like Demigra, if you know your opponent can't wipe it off the board, Demigra's by far, in a way, one of the best cards in the deck. He is incremental disadvantage to your opponent. Every turn he gets to swing sideways, he just exponentially increases how good he is in that game. However, in a lot of the decks in this format, you're not there for a long time, you're there for a good time. And so I feel like Red Broly is definitely a better card in the format because he gets what he's supposed to do done. He comes over, he impacts the board, or he does crit, he has another swing. And depending on your list, you might go into Heartfelt, which means he goes even more plus past that. But I definitely like them both for their different pieces, and then they're also both 5k combos, and so I like being able to combo with things that don't have to combo on my leader. But
so
what was I?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, building on that, because I had completely forgotten really about when we started discussing it. I forgot he was a 0 plus 5k. I honestly thought he was a 0 plus 0. I agree with you. That's amazing value. Another thing, and you didn't touch on it, but I was just thinking about it. A reason Demigra is so good in the deck is when your opponent Mechikabras and calls Broly 6. And to my own credit, I haven't really looked at this card and just noticed now it's a 7 draw. You said 7, and I'm like, what? It's not a 6? So this actually gets around Mechi Cabra, which to me is really, really good because game 2, game 3, your opponent's almost always going to side Mechi in against you and call Dark Broly 6. So that definitely does increase the value, and the fact that it's a deflect and on-play auto means he's always going to resolve. Like you already said, you know what I mean? You can Trunks counter the Migra, then you just wasted 2 energy and warped your cards for nothing. So I agree. It's a strong option.
Yeah, so actually, this is kind of crazy. You get 2 people that love the deck, and literally plays are evolving on screen as we're talking about it. But I mean, that is true, because lots of decks, they can hit you with the 2-drop and call Dark Broly 6. But if they can't clear the board of your Dark Broly that may be already there, then yeah, you do have another avenue of play. And that's something that, even though I was like riding the crap out of this card, I didn't even think of. So like, this is like stuff that's like going off right now. And I like that. I feel like that's what stuff like this is supposed to do. Just get people
gold video
thinking. And I think past the red card, it's kind of weird. There's not really too much else that's getting added to the deck. The deck really has most of its tools, and this is literally the only card that got added in, minus a 2-drop that has nothing to do with the actual deck itself and is more for the Toa Rainbow Splash deck. So, I
would go as far as to say that's bad in this deck, because if Dark Broly was an untap 2 or an untap 1 draw 1, I'd say it was great. But tapping 3 for that,
it's like tapping 3 for a card you were originally gonna play for free. I don't know about that one, Chief. Woo! So I personally, for me, I think that's kind of where I am for main deck. I feel like the side deck has more options to talk about, personally.
I agree. I did just realize, though, discussing it, that the red ball does trigger on the 2-drop Dark Broly, so maybe there is something there.
Hold on. Hold on.
Maybe there is something there, because then it's a 1 energy Self-Awakener for 15k swing that gets under raise, and then you can evolve on top so it's a 2 energy play, which definitely isn't as bad. Not as bad.
And the 2 energy could go into, like, if they 6, oh my god, imagine. Okay, so this is just super Therio, and maybe this never hits a table. Maybe you see this in a table way longer in the format, but imagine your opponent hitting you with the Mechagabora for 6-drop Broly, and then you just play 2 energy, swing for 15k, play like, this is so, I mean, yeah. You can't even play into the 6-drop, but like, that's actually like absolutely disgusting. Yeah, you could 15k, if you had the extra energy, go into the 7-drop, blow them out a little bit. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, you can even go 1-drop Broly, ball them, get the 2-drop out, swing, spend the 1 to evolve, and then you're getting 2 swings with the crit for 2 energy. That's not bad. I'm gonna test it. Honestly, I thought it was a bad combo.
Yo, wait a second. That's a whole evolve chain. wait a minute.
For reals.
Oh, I'm actually over here reading cards, like squinting, like. That's actually funny, because he really
And
does.
They have the best art, too, for Broly cards, which kind of sells me on it.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I was wrong, man. Maybe I had a cold take. Maybe I had an ice cold take on that Broly.
That is 1-drop Broly into ball, into 2-drop, paying another energy, and going into 7-drop. That's
I'll test
spice.
it. I'll test it for everybody.
I mean, it's your leader card's front consistency kind of suffers from this card, but this card kind of looks cool. So like, I'm always down.
Run it as a 2-of, you'll bottom deck it if you see it, and then grab it with the ball. It doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, red splash! Okay, so this changes up one of the questions we had, but I think we should talk about the side cards real quick.
Yep. Okay. So cards I'm going to consider for the side next set. Fu Mission Accomplished.
Okay.
This is kind of a hot take card, but it's interesting because I found myself passing with energy against some decks more often than not. Mm-hmm. Or like, particularly again, I talk about blue all the time because blue isn't fun to play against. But against blue, if they shut your turn down, you can tap 2, grab a super combo. Tap 2, grab a Mechi Cabra. That was the big thing for me. Is this guy lets you grab any card with 7 or less. You can grab your super combo. You can grab your Mechi Cabra, which lets you shut down a play. The reason I was thinking about it is because Invoker specifically took Mechie out of my hand so often, and then I couldn't play it on turn 4. So I was thinking this will give me a way to play it on turn 4, even if they snipe it from my hand. Other side deck card I really wanted to discuss, and we discussed this one before, but Son Goku True Fighting Spirit.
It's definitely also.
I think you need to run it.
Yep, I think so. And people are like looking at it thinking, oh, counter. And sometimes you do kind of get pigeonholed. You think that, oh, so when they use D Magic or when they use Trunks Prospect, no, dude, they can God Sealing you and have to warp a card. Like, they can Baby Hatch you, discard a card for Baby Hatch, and then like, do you know how sick it is for you to swing with a Demigra? They go, okay, discard a card, Baby Hatch, and then you're like, all right, cool, well, warp one for my Demigra and warp one for my True Fighting Spirit, and they're like, wait, that's illegal. And then it's just they -4 from their hand trying to Baby Hatch you on a Demigra swing. It's absolutely disgusting. So I definitely agree. This card is nuts. Again, shout out to Bad Beats and Giancarlo, because he definitely put me onto this card.
Dark King Splash. This might be a bad card. But it's a 1-cost negate, and if your opponent has 5 or more energy, your opponent can't play battle cards using leader card skills until the end of the next turn. So it's not super relevant right now, but there's a bunch of decks next set that play battle cards with their leader skills. Piccolo, Shroom and Salsa. I don't think Launch does, but a bunch of decks coming out play battle cards with their leader skills. Shenron, for example, right? And I think that might be a good option for 1 energy on turn 5, because it doesn't tap you out, it doesn't cost you much, and then it stops big value decks from really snapping back on you. Although right now, Sin Shenron's a free matchup anyway, but who knows? Maybe someone will crack it, and then this will get relevant.
I mean, the deck can go a lot different now that it has its other cards. I mean, the new Omega Shenron comes out extremely early for no reason as a 30k body. I mean, the deck can literally play aggro, mid-range, or control right now, and so its ability to like be a switch hitter can be really really scary, I guess. Like, any deck that can play that many roles has the ability to completely change the game plan on you from game to game to game and keep you guessing on what it's sided into. Like, oh, are they gonna sit back and try to negate all my stuff and cause issues, or are they going to sit here and start beating on me with a 30k Omega Shenron on turn 3 and start dropping Novas and Rage Shenrons? It's not fun. So who knows? I still think it's a very good way for us to, like, very good, easy matchup for us, but that knowledge goes off of more of the previous way of Sin Shenron biding their times until they can start putting the same board on and on all the time, which we've already removed from the game for the most part.
That's what I wanted to touch on. Is one thing I've been considering is if your opponent's running all these new burst Shenrons, you're not going to be able to remove their drop as fast, right? Like, now your opponents, they're going to be running more dragons, right? You're not going to see the Zarbon anymore. You're going to see the dragon instead. So to me, there's going to be a lot more bursts in the deck and a lot more drop filling. And I think Dark Broly's going to have a much more difficult time removing the pieces it wants to remove. But I don't want to beat the Shenron to death because we haven't really seen it perform or really seen it do well. My next choice is Dark Power BMS. Great card. A lot of people are already side decking it. I think it gets better next format. A lot of decks just straight lose when you play it now. So I would definitely side that at 2 or 3.
Definitely agree. I'm kind of weird on Black Mass Sand because I do believe that set 12 is weak to Black Mass Sand, but I believe, sorry for anybody that doesn't want to hear this, I believe that set 12 is kind of weak to everything next format. Like, it doesn't necessarily shake up the meta, so I'm not sure if I'm going to allot side deck space to set 12 because most set 12 decks don't mess with the top dogs of now. So I'm kind of like, like, if I see Turles at a table, I'm probably smacking it anyway, regardless of whether or not I put it out. So I'm kind of like, I'm on the fence about it. It's a very good card and destroys it, but like, I need to see set 12 put some heat on its name before I start allotting side deck space to it.
fair. Do you want to take a few? Do you got any more lined up?
I really only got 3. Because you took the Son Goku True Fighting Spirit from me.
Yeah.
One of
Sorry,
them,
my bad.
No, you're good. I mean, everybody. This card got expensive for a reason. I just don't see a lot of people like running it mad out of the sideboard. And against like Red Broly, I don't know how this card isn't like at 3 in most sideboards, because I mean the ability to block with it, combo from your field, and maybe a super combo to avoid like one of the smaller servants, and then playing another one, like it's actually just crazy. So with Red Broly and Dark Broly being like part of what I feel like is the new triangle, and just to put it out there, I do believe right now Green Gotenks, Red Broly, and Dark Broly are kind of a triangle. Like I do feel like they are the best decks. Green Gotenks kind of swats almost anything that shouldn't be in the meta. Dark Broly kind of does the same. Red Broly kind of does the same. But like I do feel like those are the top 3 for me. But this guy just makes, I feel like, the Red Broly matchup a lot easier as long as you can see him. The other thing for me, these are both kind of just due to the mirror match probably being more prevalent now that everybody's getting on the spice. Both of these cards actually. Majin Buu's Human Extinction Attack. I have always been on this card because I feel like it's like Fast and Furious using Nas. Like the moment I see a blue deck and I'm like, I need to swing at them twice as fast, I would side 3 of these in, or if I played 2, I would side the 3rd in, and just ripping these off. Like back when Demigra first came out, I even experimented with the Ballerz deck because I didn't want to run any red cards, just so that I could literally be like, okay, you're swinging at me, Majin Buu's Extermination for the max 4, that's 5 cards, instantaneously that's Demigra count, Demigra. And then just stick it and keep rolling past that, not even using my leader effect to make that Demigra. But this card pulls ahead of your opponent so hard while removing one of their cards. And it's just really good in the mirror. It's really good in matchups where you need to accelerate before they can put the vice grip on your neck. And then this card, only really good against the mirror, I feel like. There are other matchups I feel like it could work in. But if you play Dark Broly, you understand your deck is not a deck that draws. And unfortunately, unlike Blue, you can't play apes. It's just not going to work. So, like, when this card gets resolved against you and just blindly takes 2 of your cards out of a hand that may not be bigger than 10, it's rough. And lots of the times, your hand will probably be smaller than 10, especially if they swing out and then play this to rob you of your next turn's plays. So that's really the only ones I'm looking at, like, that really kind of went up the ladder for me.
I want to touch on Majin Buu's Extinction Attack just because you turned me onto that today in our conversation prior to the video. So Majin Buu's Extinction Attack is really good, even better in the mirror for a couple of reasons I didn't consider. 1, it's a plus 15k, so now you only need to combo 1 out of your hand. 2, it's filling your drop, so if you did warp your Broly's, now you'll have Sparking, right? So you can do a Power Burst afterwards. Most importantly though, when I play Dark Broly, I'm always comboing with a purpose, right? So if I'm comboing, if you combo against me, you go, okay, I'm going to 25. And I say, how many cards are in your drop? And you say 7. I know you're going to play a Broly. I can now slap down Human Extinction, warp one of them, and it's ruined your entire play. Mm-hmm. And to me, I was considering that, and I was like, that's actually really strong, especially in the mirror, because it's going to make your opponent play even more awkward. So if I want to play around that, I now have to combo an extra card on top, which takes advantage out of my hand.
Yep.
So and then you can just choose not to play it.
It's actually funny. It hits better Broly players than it does, because like when you become a better Dark Broly player, you are only comboing with purpose. You are sequencing and you are setting up for exacties. And for your opponent to be like, oh, you're comboing 4 cards and you have 3 engraved? Yeah, nah, buddy. And then, just like he said, changes up your stuff by even just 1. That'll force you to either abandon your play or go around it. You have to do another swing and combo just to get the same play out. Or, God forbid, that was your last swing before you produced your next Broly, and now you actually just got cut off. So, there's a lot of weird things that can happen there, but I definitely love this card in the mirror. Love it, love it, love it.
The only other card, like, I was thinking about running the Goku 2-drop, or 4 energy warps the card. Yeah, he's good, but he's not worth, like, even the one, like, his art is just so good that I want to run him in every deck.
So shiny.
So he's got double strike. When you play him, he warps a battle card, and for 1 energy, you can put him from hand to drop, and he KOs a battle card with energy cost 2 or less. That's relevant in my opinion. The new meta's got a lot of 2-drop or less. Does Dark Broly need it? Probably not, but it's something I've been considering. That was just another worth talking about card. The big one and your favorite card that we're going to talk about is Dark Mask King. I'm going to side it at 2. I like Dark Mask King a lot. For people who don't know what it does, it's a 6-drop, so you can hard cast it for 6. Or it has an activate main for 4 energy. If your opponent has 3 or more battle cards in Warp, which Dark Broly is always going to do, you can pay it for 4 energy. Play it for 4 energy from your hand. When he swings, if your opponent has 10 or more cards in Warp, he restands. He's got double strike, and if he's negated, your opponent warps one of their life. Or sorry, he has triple strike. And he's deflect. So he's like a jack of all trades, and he's a huge anti-Dark Broly card.
This is probably gonna just take one of the slots from later, but I'm fine with that now because the video is already gonna be a little longer than I thought. But this card makes me so heated because when I first read it, I was like, this is cool, and then when I read it again and started testing it, I was like, this card is kind of hard to play in Dark Broly because lots of games don't get that far. And tapping 4 is dangerous. I didn't want to tap 5 for Demigra, True Darkness. I don't want to really tap 4 for this. But then I played it more, and I was like, even though I've never seen it played against me, I never want to see this card at the other end of the table. They play it, they literally warp 2 of your cards, and that's already a big no-no. You spend most of your time trying to amass your graveyard. This card just swings and warps 2. Will restand after threatening you with triple strike and warping a card from your life because you just played black. It is so... Black already has little to no counterplay and some of the worst negates in the game. Why did Bandai need to create this absolute monster dump truck anti-black card? It's
the only black answer is that Dabura counterplay, and it's so bad. It's not even like his cost gets reduced so you can counterplay him. It's just tap 4 and you play the 6 cost. So he's got deflect anyway. So yeah, Dabura's your only option. Dabura's your only option, and it's a bad card. So you either play a bad card or you lose the Dark Mask. Okay.
He really is just he really. I just looked at him and I was like, bro, why? Absolutely why? That's my only question for it. So, I think that's a weird card because Dark Mask King is one of those cards where even if it's not good this format, there's gonna be a point where a year and a half down the line, there's gonna be this Mondo tier 0 black deck. And then every last one of them will be maining 2 copies of Dark Mask King because if you see the mirror, it's just gonna be you can windmill this guy quicker and just beat the crap out of the opponent. It's just well, thanks Bandai. This guy will probably, unless if the game ever slows down enough to where 5 energy is where the game ends, I feel like this card is gonna get hated on so hard by the player base because he's gonna shut out black from being a part of the game. But
and he's okay. I don't want to encourage buyouts. I don't want to encourage anything like that. But if you don't have 2 to 3 copies, get 2 to 3 copies. Just gonna say it. We know King Vegeta Zeno's coming because he's in Temptations of the Mask. So you know there's gonna be more support for Dark Mask King down the line. And I can't see the cards getting better than this one.
It's a monstrous anti-black card. So moving on from that, I have a question. Red Splash or no? We got a lot of people talking about Red Splash. You got the balls, you got the Champas, you got the new Dark Broly, and you got the 2-drop Dark Broly if you decide to play him, which may be a better thing now that we've talked about it. That's kind of crazy.
Now that we've talked about it, 4 Topo is my secret spice, man.
Stop. Cool.
Dude, you run. Okay. This? I'm gonna jokingly get back to it. I think it's bad. I honestly even think the Red Splash is bad. I charge 1 red because I'm bad at the game. So when I play and I have the extra chomp, I'll charge it. That's why I run those 0+10 super combos.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly don't think the red splash is the move. I don't like Heartfelt Plea. I think it's a little too inconsistent. I think having a dead 1+10 in your hand is real trouble. Granted, a lot of your cards do discards. You get filter, and if you're running the other super combo, you can bottom deck it and draw 2. But I don't like having a card in my hand that I just have to get rid of if I've already awakened, when I know I'm awakening turn 2 or turn 3 every game.
I get that. I'm definitely.
Man, you're not going to defend. Yeah, I was going to say, here comes the counter swing.
There's no counter swing. This is nothing to do with the validity of the card. This is just like me as a player. If I can have a card that says when I draw it, I'm probably going to just completely floor somebody on the turn that I awaken, I'll play it. If I draw it dead every now and then, I'm like, okay, this sucks. But like, personally for me, I feel like the deck is really, really consistent. So if I can have a couple, like playing 2 cards that allows me to go get Subway between my matches, like, that's the spice for me. That's the spice. Having a card where I can be like, oh, is this just a game? When I probably would normally have to connect with 4 more Dark Broly's or 2 more and 2 Champas. I'm here for it. Like, I like it. I like the burstiness of it because I guess just after playing the deck for so long, I don't mind grinding out games, but I like the ability to be like, here it is, it's on the table, it's out and about, you know what it's about. Let's see it. So that's just me. But I mean,
offering is the best keyword skill in the game. I'll give you that support.
Offering is wild. But I mean, as far as a full red splash goes, I'm not really about it. Like I barely like tap into energy for cards that like swing damage. I'm not really down to tap 2 energy for a card that may keep me from dying. I mean, I guess that's good, but at the same time, it's like I'm not here to defend myself with a topo. I'm here to swing a bunch of 30Ks sideways repeatedly until you die, or I die. So like,
and just to advocate on the other side, because now that we're discussing it, I do see a little bit of merit in, let's say I'm running my topo playset, right? I'm on the draw. Okay, so you have 3 energy. You're going into a 3 energy turn. I pass with 2 up. You swing once, I slap down topo. Your turn's basically done. Mm-hmm. Next turn, swing topo, swing leader, right? Ball topo, awaken, heartfelt plea. That ain't bad.
Hold up. Like, hold up. He put all of the cards together.
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking. I'm like, maybe, like, I don't know. I can see merit, especially if you're gonna try the red Broly comp, like the red Broly card. Mm-hmm. I think there might be some merit there. I would never play it. I don't think it's good. I don't think 2 energy to topo to hope you can play into it and I get value isn't the move to me. And I think you agree with that. But I can see their gears turning where it's playable.
Yeah, I'm already still shocked that we just like came up with lines of play for this guy. But
we cracked it. We broke the deck. It's gonna be tier 0.
Whole evolve chain, my guy. Like it's just kind of weird though, because like I just can't see myself charging double red at any point. It just doesn't feel like I'm going to get to that point. But yeah. So I guess the next topic I want here, Gravy Tech. I know we both feel very differently about Gravy.
I acknowledge Gravy's a strong card. I acknowledge it's sick because it's a 5K. You can play it for 2 and it gets under Violent Race. And when you combo it, you refill your drop. I acknowledge all that's good. For me, the role that fulfills in a Dark Broly deck, it helps you win your poor matchups helps you win your good matchups better, right? For me, a 0+5 that I have to kind of unnecessarily combo in and then work the math on a +2 from the Gravy. It's nice because he can bring the leader only moves 30Ks on the backside, right? Mm-hmm. So it's nice because Gravy can re-put your super combos into your drop or something, maybe get you a bigger drop. I don't personally like Gravy. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people playing Gravy in the next meta. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to fall out of favor for more tech choices. Because if you tell me, all right, you have 2 slots in your deck, you're taking Toa Unison or you're taking Gravy? I'm taking Toa.
I can feel that. See, I guess with the little tenure I was doing on trying to test Broly without 1-drops or the balls, I started really trying to focus on how to manipulate my graveyard and go up and down, like the accordion drop zone. And with Gravy, for me, I just found like the synergy is absolutely, for me at least, it's just super crazy, because you could be going into a turn when you're awakened and go, I have a Broly Engrave and some extra. And normally it would have been that extra is just shy of having 2. Or, I don't know, you have maybe 1 card left over. But now with a single Gravy in hand, you can end up going into a Dark Broly, like a Ravager or something, swinging with your leader, pop the Ravager, and then you activate Gravy. Gravy brings it up to a 25k swing. And then you put 2 cards back plus the Gravy, that's another 3. So that's automatically 4 cards in there from a 0
leader ability.
Leader ability, that's another Broly swing. Like, Gravy changes the math in a very favorable way for me. And now that I'm back on the ball game, now that I play Red Dragon Balls, it's like you can you have more free plays. But I never stopped liking Gravy's ability to change up the math like that. Because between your leader skill and Gravy, you only need 1 black card in your graveyard outside of your leader skill and a Gravy resolution for you to play another Dark Broly. And like I said, I feel like a lot of the times, those extra swings are just one more time your opponent has to use a negate or burn 3 cards in their hand just to not get swung on. So for me, maybe Gravy's my crutch, but I like just playing Gravy. I like the ability to produce more swings, and I like the ability to make that continuous flow of graveyard to just burn out. So we're on like different sides of that, but also I haven't played Toa. Maybe the first time I seriously sit down and play Toa and not just play it on Untap a couple times, I actually get it in a tournament, maybe I'll change my mind. This is facts. Or maybe I'll try to slam bang both of them. Maybe this is how I go from 50 to 52. It is what it is. Like, you're gonna play Toa once, be like, Gravy sucks.
Like,
I don't want to play with you anymore. Like, drop. It's just like, just tear it right in half. But also, he's right. It does bring back the things that your leader card can't hit. And there are some times where you're trying to build that graveyard, and you've got things in there that cannot be routed with your leader, and you're like, man. So that's pretty much that for me, unless you have anything else to add to the Gravy tech, yes or no?
No, I was going to say, we should probably get into our final segment on the longevity of the deck going forward.
Well, it's a 2-part question for me, because the first part of it is, where do you see Dark Broly in set 12's meta? I kind of already talked about where I feel like the best decks are, but where do you see it as?
So for me, it's probably tier 2. With the right pilot and the right build, it's going to be closer to tier 1. But the problem, like, it's a really flexible deck, and it is and it isn't in a way. You're going to have to adjust the deck to deal with your meta, right? It's not like there's not one best Dark Broly build. It's not like for Red Broly, for example, 99% of that deck is the same, and then you're just swapping out your tech cards for the Piccolo units, right? That's your real difference. With this deck, you have about 12 flex spots you want to play around with, and what you put in those flex spots really changes your matchups and your play style. So to me, it's hard to pinpoint. I would say it's tier 2 right now. I think it's going to have a couple tough matchups. With the right build, with the right time, with some more testing, it might be tier 1. I definitely think you have an advantage game 2 because you can side, but game 2 you're also going to get sided against, right? So you're going to eat those Metrocabras, you're going to eat those Violent Rays, and then it's going to come down to how much this guy can help you out. So it'll be interesting. I think it's tier 2, maybe tier 1 with the right pilot.
All right. So I'm trying to wrap my head around, I guess, because people can maybe think about tiers being different. I know when I think about tiers, and I'll try to make this part short before I go into my thing. When I think of tier 0, I think of a deck that has an unfair power gap between itself and the rest of the meta. Frankly, I don't think now granted, I was out for set 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So I was out for a chunk for this game. But the last time I felt like a deck was tier 0, we were playing OG Mecha Frieza. Like, the deck could just absolutely power out random cards. You could power out veggies. I mean, you could turn to March of the Great Apes. Like, it was absolutely nasty. You could objection twice in the same turn, and your opponent plays their first energy or their second energy to your 5. Like, it was unreal. I don't think any deck right now could be considered tier 0. There's too many matchups where it's too close for it to be tier 0. But when it becomes when it goes to tier 1, I think of tier 1 starting usually at like the baseline for the format. I think Gotenks was the first tier 1 deck we saw just shoot out of nowhere. And then around that, I started looking at decks that could beat Gotenks, but still not just fold to other decks. Because if you can beat the main deck, but it's because you heavily teched and built towards it, and every other deck just kind of like puts your face in the dirt, you're not a tier 1 deck. You're probably tier 1.5 to 2. So around that, I would feel like things like Red Broly clearly defined itself as a tier 1 deck. Great matchups, and actually at that point when people started getting the TP, started creeping up more closer, not at tier 0, but closer to that tier like 0.5, 7.5. Now, where we are right now, I think Red Broly is strong tier 1, but personally, I think we have a lot of tier 1 decks right now, and I would like to think Dark Broly is in tier 1, because Dark Broly can throw hands with green Gotenks easily. Dark Broly actually has some of the better matchups versus Red Broly. Mecha Frieza is kind of hard to say because there's so many different variants, and I can't really say that just my testing against it is conclusive, but it still can rock with that as well. So I think Dark Broly is in tier 1, and I think that once you start getting into tier 1.5 and 2, you start hitting decks that like they have to have a good day to progress well in a tournament. And I think Broly has too many even matchups or good matchups to put it down further than that. But at the same time, I've said it in so many videos about Dark Broly, the fact that every single color has a floodgate to Dark Broly's aggression really will always keep it out of being better than just a good tier 1, maybe tier 1.5 deck on a low ball. Because there's not a single way you can convince me that game 2 against a green deck when they have 4 Dormants and 4 Bigamores, like, are you gonna have a good time? Probably not. Like, in a main deck, a blue deck can prospect you turns 2, 3, and 4, and then baby at you on turn 5, and then you will never feel like you're in control of the game ever again. Like, I will always call back to the point where people were like, oh, Sin Shinron's your easiest matchup, and my homie Vasquez literally locked down my leader every turn with Sin Shinron, and then locked down my Brolys with Vegeta Unison of Fury, and I couldn't swing for 4 turns straight until I could land a Demigra, and I was like, wow, yo, this sucks. So like, I think that Dark Broly innately, because all these cards exist, the Violent Rays, the Bigamores, like it's innately never going to be able to hit tier 0 because every deck can play 4 of a card that hurts it.
I definitely want to say, I agree with you. Game 1, Broly has the best bad matchups. 100% I agree with you there. In that the spread, I think Dark Broly's like, if you want to play an all-comers deck, quote unquote, Dark Broly's the best choice. I agree with you there. I do agree.
Yeah, and it's also kind of cool because what you were saying about Dark Broly having so much space for techs, it actually makes it one of the more malleable decks in the format. Like Broly, Red Broly, no room for techs. Freaking Green Gotenks, no room for real techs. Like, you have some space, but it's not really. It's an archetype deck, and it's tight like that. Then you have decks like Mecha Frieza. You're kind of limited to the premium yellow extra cards that get played in there, and you can have some differentiations between stuff. But when it comes to Dark Broly, depending on what you can do, you really have a lot of space to work with. Even with the way the core is right now, you have 10, 12, 15 cards you can play with to better your matchups versus whatever you want. I was showing people, like, you can look on my channel and see Red Broly with the TPs versus my Ballerz Broly deck, and you can see that I scooped out like 12 cards out of the deck and threw them just for techs. You can still make the deck work and have so much room for techs, and in that way, I think that Dark Broly is very malleable. It can move to the shape of the format very well, as long as you still can put your 30k beat sticks in grave and bring them back to the field. So it's kind of weird in terms of where it is. I feel like there's a clear ceiling for how good it can get, but I feel like in that ceiling, it can go all over the field, and that's cool for me. Which kind of, I guess, leads into the second question about longevity, because I think right before moving into longevity, another reason why I think Broly can kind of cement itself as tier 1 is because I think Blue went from a rogue bottom tier 1, maybe top tier 1.5 option to almost tier 2 this format. Like, I don't think Blue holds a candle to what it was before, and it's not because of Dark Broly. No, Dark Broly, I hated facing Blue with Dark Broly. Like, screw Prospect, screw it. Like, screw Prospect, screw decking out, all that nastiness. And then the worst part is, at least with other decks, when you hit 4 energy, you're like, okay, I've worn them down. When you hit 4 energy in Blue, Blue's like, I have just begun, and then like they look like King Kong. Like, you're this tiny monkey, and they're the giant SS4 gorilla beating on you every turn with like ridiculous 4-drops. So now that Blue is kind of taking a back seat because Blue often doesn't want to hang with Red Broly. Blue hates Go Tanks, like deflect dot deck. Blue versus Yellow is funny because Blue's like, I have great mana efficiency, and then like Yellow's like, do you though? And they just start tapping out all of their crap that they try to remain untapped. So now that Blue is kind of under fire, I think that actually gives Dark Broly a very good space to breathe. That has nothing to do with the deck itself, just the fact that you might not get Randy smashed. Like, before in a tournament, you could lose 1 round and then just face Blue decks for like the rest of your tournament because they're all in that X1, X2 bracket. And you're like, no. So I think that actually is kind of a deal. But when it comes to longevity, I like to give you the floor and ask your take on how you see Dark Broly working in the future.
So I'm gonna start with a unique kind of spin on what I think the deck needs to get either tier 1 or stay high tier. And what it needs is a 2 or 3 drop card that's a 30k that has a permanent, when it's in the battle area, it has a -50, right? Something that you can play that's a low energy cost and that isn't a 30k on board, but it's a 30k in your deck and in your draw. That's what the deck needs to stay relevant going into the future sets. So like, if that comes out, I'll be jazzed, and I might file something against Bandai because I just said it. And, as it stands, I think Dark Broly is a really strong deck. I do think it does something no other deck does. I do think it's so toolboxy. As long as you keep getting good black cards, and as long as they keep making black 30ks, the deck's going to stay relevant. So if you're going to invest, and the other really cool thing is if you're new to Dark Broly or you don't really know if you're going to invest in it or not, right now you can pick up 2 of the Ultimate Toa decks, and you're going to get 40% of your Dark Broly deck package right there. Right? You're only going to need to pick up 2 to 3 SRs to have something that you can win a tournament. So I think it's a really strong, really competitive deck. I think it'll stay strong and competitive. Like, as long as it still, the more stuff they make, like Big Arm, like Big Amor, like Heroic Prospects, the weaker Dark Broly gets. But it's not that big of a deal. As long, it depends. It all depends on what the next set looks like coming forward. I do think there's gonna be new decks that Dark Broly has a real problem against. Like people aren't talking about Android 21, and I think that's a sleeper, really strong deck, especially against Dark Broly with that new Arrival card. They're gonna be able to crit 2 of your life for 4 energy, and that's strong.
It's strong and
good.
Scary.
It's good, right? And they can pressure you, and they can tap out and untap during your turn. So, like, I think there's a lot coming down the pipeline that's going to give Broly trouble. But it's still going to do stuff no other deck does. It's still going to punish your opponent. It's going to all come down to, can you punish your opponent's misplays, or will your opponent predict your plays better than you predict theirs? So I think it's always going to be a high skill cap deck, but I mean, Golden Frieza is still getting played, right? So I think it'll have a lot of longevity, at least set 12, probably into the power booster after. It'll still be a good deck. Even if it drops, I think it drops to tier 2. Like, I think it's going to be on Cooler's power level, put it that way, in the future.
See, it's kind of weird too, because one, this is Bandai we're talking about, and so power creep is going to be real next block. It may not be out crept this block, but it definitely is probably gonna get power crept next block. Also, Bandai has and please don't hate on me if you're watching this, Bandai. If one of you guys watches this, I'm still trying to spoil cards, like holla at your boy, but like you guys tend to leave certain things unloved after the block it's in. But at the same time, as saying this is Bandai, this is also dun, 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 Bandai. And if there's characters that sell cards, they will keep getting support. And let me tell you, Broly sells cards. The fact that 2 different Broly decks got released in the same set, and people were like, it's hype! Yeah, like, Broly will sell cards. Y'all could release an SER next set that's Dark Broly, and people would buy cases for it. You guys could give us a TP. It's actually... What I'm surprised at is that I'm very much so used to Bandai snapping decks with TP cards. Just like releasing a TP card that snaps. Like if you're listening, Bandai Spy, 30k Dark Broly that has a permanent -15 on board, like he said, that's effect, just snap the deck in half. When this card is played, you may discard 1 black 30k from your hand to the drop. Take up to 2 30k black cards from your deck to the drop, and then draw 1 card. Just snap the deck in half. Just literally snap it.
To me, it's when this card is played, discard 1 card, play 1 Broly with an energy cost of 1 from your deck. That's that's the snap. That's the snap that's still fair.
See,
like that brings it to TP Broly level.
Oh, are you saying mine's not fair? This foolish burial 2 30ks into your grave and draw 1? Look, it's a neg 1 technically from hand. If you play it from hand, it's a neg 1. Now, if you cheat it from deck, it may just kind of be like a +1. But all I know is putting 3 30ks in your deck from your drop from deck and hand, and then drawing this card. That sounds pretty cool to me. I think it'd be pretty cool. Unending Darkness, Dark Broly, Unending Darkness. Like, look, we're here, we're out here, play it. And I definitely think that this is not an archetype that they're gonna leave dead forever. I mean, just an indicator. We just got an ultimate deck that randomly threw a card for it, like, and. Again, I think it would have been really relevant. Like, they could have made a black SER for this set and it would have made sense. They could do it for next set. And the way they're kind of putting it out there, it looks like Toa's band of 7-star Dragon Ball people from, Dragon Ball Heroes. It looks like the premium dude is Broly. So, I mean, with Broly being the premium baddie for this archetype, I can see him getting cards in the future. I'm actually cool. So he is the 7-star Parasitic Darkness. He is the top of the stack. So I don't know. I definitely am not gonna count this archetype out, because when Bandai makes support for a deck, it's either negligible or it's snapped. And I definitely can see them releasing some stupid dumb cards for a Broly deck in general. I'm here for it. So, were there any other points you wanted to put on this video that's probably nearing 40, maybe 50 minutes, but I think people are going to eat it up. I really think they are.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you guys enjoyed. I just want to thank you, Chris, for having me on. It was fun. I had a blast. I always like your videos. I love talking Dark Broly with you. I think we got a lot of ground covered, and I think if you're into Dark Broly and you're into the deck, and even if you just want to try different ways of playing it, I think this was a valuable video. So I hope everybody watching enjoyed watching it. Highly recommend subscribe to UniDBX, join the Discord, come chat with me, come play Dragon Ball with me anytime. Just shoot me a message.
Follow Border
Other
City.
than that, yeah, exactly. And follow my blog. Just do it. Drop a comment on my YouTube. Let me know what you think. If you don't, that's fine. I won't be mad about it. Like I said, it's all free. It's all stuff I try and help out the community with. So watch our stuff. Subscribe to UniDBX and message me if you want to play. Till then, I always say keep balling.
Hey, that's hot. That's hot fire right there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this installment. I'm looking forward to having Armando on the channel again. I feel like as long as this deck is kicking, we got more stuff to talk about, and I feel like, I don't know, I really like kicking off of each other for deck stuff, so I feel like anytime we intersect on like decks that we both like, this might have to be a thing. Like, this is like fun.
Not the name of segment, man.
Alrighty then. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. And if you're tuning in to the Miami PPG event, I'm gonna be super excited. Keep me posted. If you're in the Discord watching this, or you want to jump in the Discord, keep me posted, because I'll be at work crying. I can't even like watch the stream because my boss will be working with me on a rare weekend, so I can't even put it up. It's sad, but I will be trying to stay tuned. Good luck to everybody playing, and I'll see you guys next time inside Join Universe X. Later.